StarCast is proudly sponsored by DoghouseSystems.com. If you use the code StarCast or Biscuit at checkout, you will get double memory on your next Doghouse system. And also TweakedAudio.com. Go to TweakedAudio.com for high-performance noise-reducing earbuds. Use our code StarCast and get 30% off plus free shipping on your entire order. And finally, SC2QuoteOfTheDay.com. Daily quotes from the StarCraft 2 community. The site may suck, but the quotes are sick. And make sure to go check out their t-shirts in their new store. Once again, that's SC2QuoteOfTheDay.com, and we thank them for their support. Sponsor an episode of StarCast at thestarcast.com.
Hell, it's about damn time for StarCast.
Incoming transmission.
Biscuit.
Welcome back, everyone, to the 161st episode of StarCast, the StarCraft podcast. I'm Garrett Weinzierl, and with me, as always, is Kyle Fergusson. How you doing, Kyle?
I'm doing all right. Survived Thursday as much as my brain tried to kill me with boredom. I made it. Only 8 more hours to go tomorrow. I should survive.
Good to know. I've been under the attack of boredom as well. Until today. Until I cracked open my StarCraft Edition internet today, the boredom kind of went away and was replaced with drama.
Yes, the big pile of drama, as well as so many games going on in the background, including Dota 2 and StarCraft. That just made me want to be anywhere but there and home playing video games and not reading this particular drama. But It's the truth. There's a lot going on this week. And, well, we have quite a packed show because of it.
We do, but that's not going to stop me from talking about what we were playing this week. I did play StarCraft, but we cheated on it a little bit with Dota. Are we allowed to say that on the show? Are we allowed to say that we were in bed with another game?
That's nothing new here.
But this week it's topical, and people are going to say, oh, now they're going to do a Dota show, and that's the end of that.
Yep, it's time to pick sides. No one gets to enjoy anything, just one thing.
You have to pick one game, and so help you if it's League of Legends. We can't be
hot dogs and hamburgers forever. Gotta pick one. Even though they're completely different things.
You know, I get violently angry and take to the forums whenever someone says that they prefer Pepsi to Coke.
Well, of course. Pepsi Wars.
Pepsi Wars. You a Pepsi or a Coke guy?
Well, we'll find out this week on Biggest Fan. We're doing sodas, but actually I've never drinking an entire can of soda in my life.
What?
Yes, because I have a very sensitive tongue, and carbonation burns me like a pansy. So I was like, no.
Wow.
That was uncomfortable.
That's... What? That is the weirdest thing I think I may have ever heard.
I know, right? It's really lame, too.
That's definitely the weirdest lame thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, it's right up there with asthma, and I'm already nerdy enough. So luckily I can avoid it, and there's lots of options, and I can just be like, no, I'm cool with water. I've already had soda today if I really want to lie about it.
I mean, but I have a friend who is allergic to chocolate, which I looked at him and figured to myself, wow, you are missing out on a lot. But that's an allergy. That's something I can wrap my head around. But just being like, I'm only going to drink half of this Mountain Dew, that hurts my brain.
I didn't even start the Mountain Dew. It's just uncomfortable.
All right. Whatever.
But, you know, chocolate kind of makes sense. I mean, at least you have dogs to have some camaraderie with. Peanuts are the one that always get me because I'm like, really? That sucks. Because first of all, they come in everything. Like, you're like, oh, I'm eating a bag of pretzels. What the hell, a peanut?
Everything I eat on the back, warning, was processed in a factory that includes nuts and burgers.
Yeah, by the way, a peanut, watch the making of this soda.
Yeah, exactly. We've got really off topic thanks to your pansy-ass tongue. But, yeah, let's get into it, man. Like we said, we've got a ton of news to talk about today. And at the top, it's funny, we got up this morning, woke up, started typing out some notes. At the top of the show, I originally had new map pool. Here's how you guys know.
Buried.
Just so you know, when I go into one of these episodes of the podcast, if the first bit of news that we're going to talk about is a map pool update, I don't get very excited about doing the show. I'm like, but then as I get into it, I'm like, oh, wonderful. This is going to be a great off-topic episode. We're going to have a lot of time to talk about whatever the hell we want.
I mean, I blame the whole scene. It's all of our faults. And specifically, Stephano. Stephano, you left way too respectfully. We were expecting some sort of drama, so the world had to make up for you.
I thought he was going to announce that he was going to school to become the world's first naked doctor.
Right? Nope.
Yeah, that's, alas, that's not what happened. But... So yeah, very quickly, the top spot of the show notes was replaced by this possibly and probably no StarCraft 2 at MLG Columbus this year. I would like to add to this very official headline with MLG's PR is absolute garbage.
Yes. Yes, this was a random little tweet shot out by Sundance at 6:54 a.m. this morning. So, prime time.
Yeah.
Right there to let us know these things. But saying, just so folks know, we are currently not planning on running SC2 at CBUS. Should that change, we'll let you know via official channels.
Okay. I'm going to start right off with the incredibly obvious issue here. Shouldn't you have let us know about this possible change via official channels and not a 6 a.m. tweet?
That can be said,
Just
yes.
Put it out there. Kyle, what do you think?
Well, I see the strategy of it. You avoid the limelight. There is a very large other esports event going on right now. So there's no way, no matter how he said it, it could possibly be the front page on Kotaku for the day.
Right. But...
Does that make it better?
No, I don't think it is, because I don't think... Like, people at Kotaku are I don't think it's going to really matter. The people who are going to raise a stink are definitely going to notice. Case in point, anywhere that even remotely discusses StarCraft 2 esports is on fire today as a result of this. So who cares if it makes front page of Kotaku? The people at Kotaku is not known for esports. Yeah, but
that's what I'm saying. Is like it does have a little bit of strategy to it being announced right then.
Yes, I think it's dumb and I don't know. Anyway, I guess we should talk about the bigger issue, which is the fact that StarCraft 2 will not be at MLG Columbus.
Yeah, and let's take a step back further than that. And MLG was really carrying a lot of the weight for StarCraft in North America. If you're in other places, hell, if you're in Germany and the like, and soon to be Moscow, you have DreamHack to be rocking it for you all the time. Not all the time, but, MLG made its way around, and we are more than happy to have something that we could actually go to with StarCraft 2. I'm
personally so angry about this because I've been waiting for MLG to come to my relative side of the country before attending one. Columbus was looking like it was going to be the closest one for me. And oh, look, no StarCraft. I guess I'm not going.
Yeah.
So I guess that's my alert, everyone. I'm coming at this with slightly personal ties, in my opinion.
Right. And I am coming at it with my usual good cop demeanor here. And I see the strategy, of course, because, hey, it was really expensive for MLG to be running these StarCraft events. They were putting forth the money. Blizzard really wasn't helping out. And then they just got done with that whole WCS debacle where they ran it, but it was just a huge mess, and they bailed. Now NASL has it. So they've already removed themselves that far from Blizzard that they would have to get permission and that whole LAN half server set up. And it's just a lot of trouble when you have other games trying to be esports willing to put forth money to get you to have their game at your tournament. Yeah. I mean, MLG's a business. And when Sundance tweeted that he crashed his second boat, I think we all realized that it was a bit of a business.
I'm trying so hard not to fall into the Reddit pitchfork trap of, all Sundance cares about is money, yada, yada,
No,
yada.
but if we can't, and if he does, who cares? The man loved esports at some point in his life and probably still does. I mean, he said, what did he get into? It was Halo was the big event for MLG when it first got going. And that's what he was into. And he wanted a place for camaraderie and that sort of thing. And hey, if it became his livelihood, you got to make some sacrifices and cut things as they get a little fat.
Yeah, if those things happen to be the game that started it all, Halo, so be it.
I mean,
What I'm trying to say is I am trying very hard to look at this from a neutral point of view and not have my opinion tainted by the fact that every time MLG discusses anything, the whole thing, the entire discussion is coated in a thick money layer. Oh, it's just money. And I don't know. I feel like this is a discussion you and I have off air a lot, how utterly sick we are of all of the discussion around esports revolving around money, because for you and I, we don't give a shit. But we also don't make a lot of money from this, so I don't know.
No, and that's got to be the thing. And if he is the Walt Disney of MLG, he's probably had a lot of big dreams in the past, but then he's had to have whoever Walt Disney's brother was, the real sane guy who was like, look, Epcot can't be a place where people live. It can be a theme park, but you're insane, Walt Disney, sit down. If that's what's happening here, that's fine. And I'm sure that's like the investor calls and the people he's talking to. Like, those are the hard facts. And viewership equals money with advertisements. Mm-hmm. And if the money's not there, then why should you keep it?
Yeah, I guess that's a good point.
If you want to be angry right now, the best thing you can do is bow out gracefully. You could cancel your gold subscription if you want to, or you can just not watch MLG events in the future. But there's no need to either be tweeting at him angry things or write some sort of horrible passive-aggressive letter in your unsigning up to MLG or your deleting of the subscription you have with Twitch. It's just silly.
True. I wouldn't completely disagree with. I don't. This is my opinion. I am obviously on the bias side mad because I think StarCraft is the best esport.
Of course,
MLG was pretty much our only option for a regular LAN event in America, in the U.S.
Yeah.
Well, we have NASL, but they only do, 2 or 3 LAN events a year, and half the time they were in Canada, the finals.
Well, and then we had the LAN sort of part taken away from us slowly. Then we had all those pay-per-view events. So it's been a long, tragic road coming here.
Right.
And
exactly.
I think that's why people are extra worked up because of that.
Right. And what I'm mad about is just the way it was handled, I guess. I feel like StarCraft in general, the scene and the fans, should have been given slightly more in the way of a professional announcement or a press release or something. Because, I mean, MLG has had the largest, fastest growth over the past few years it's ever seen, and it is because of StarCraft.
Well, it's been on the main stage. Right. So what would you say if... Well, that's one of the first problems. And again, I don't want to put any words in Sundance's mouth or really criticize him because, hey, it's his company. He can do whatever he wants.
I want you to put words in people's mouths, Kyle.
But if you have a whole PR hype team going, just tweeting it yourself when you've already kind of had these issues in the past might spark a bit of drama. But what would you say if he had tweeted, I don't know, guys, I think this year we're going to put StarCraft on the side stage. Or, you know what? We've rented a cubicle or a portable, and we're going to just have that like outside the event, and StarCraft can watch it in there. That'll be cool. What are his options? If other games are willing to pay you to be at the tournament that people are paying to get into, hell, you're going to do it.
Yeah, no, that's not what I'm arguing. I'm saying this was handled very unprofessionally. Exceptionally unprofessionally.
But between our choices, I would much rather see StarCraft just disappear from MLG than be slowly skirted off to the side and become this strange embarrassment.
Yes, and that's exactly the case. I agree with you. Like I said, when I boil down my thoughts, I'm not mad at MLG because StarCraft 2 is gone, other than the fact that I'm just like, but StarCraft's so much better than everything else, and that's the fan in me. But the logical person in me is like, no, I understand this makes sense. I'm just mad that because we were the game that made MLG what it is now, that we were given a 6 a.m. tweet. That's how that game was sent off.
Well, and as StarCraft fans, we've been at the foreground of esports for the past 2 solid years, doing the grassroots thing, really spreading the word as best we can. And now it kind of feels like people have jumped on the coattails, but not only that, have pulled us down to the ground and now walked over us. But we're actually going to have a call-in later to talk specifically about Dota and just kind of have some fun with that and, talk about that event that's going on right now. So we're not breezing over that issue.
No, we will have we reserved a little time at the end of the show here for some Dota talk with our good buddy Discorax, who is one of the admins for everything StarCast. Helps us with the site, with the forums, with everything. But we'll get into that later. Anyways, all of this kind of obviously ignited the community, but there was a bunch of fallout that maybe we weren't all expecting. Day 9 made a cryptic tweet a few hours after Sundance's, saying that Red Bull was, quote unquote, brewing some opportunities for North American StarCraft players. So speculate away. I'm hoping we get some kind of semi-regular LAN event through that. That would be awesome.
Sure. They do invites, so it's a little less expensive to run than the mega scope that MLG was dealing with.
Right.
Again, a little sad that, yeah, thank you, Red Bull. You can't quite replace what we'll be missing here.
Yeah. I don't know. Total Biscuit more or less made it clear that he's leaving the StarCraft 2 casting scene. He made a tweet saying that I think it's not hard to guess at this point that I'm considering moving on from StarCraft 2 casting-wise. No events, so there's no point.
Right. And I think it's a little odd to tweet this, any caster to tweet this today. You should tweet this in 2 weeks. Just give it some time, please. Like, this is, it's a little ridiculous. That'd be like me sitting in the middle of a Super Bowl party and being like, I wish baseball was on. It's like, well, I'll have my time later.
Well,
and I mean, this happened earlier this week too, because Tasteless made a tweet or something that he would be cool with casting Dota. Hell, he's cool with casting World of Tanks. That doesn't mean World of Tanks is better. I can tell you it's not better. I'm not much for World of Tanks. I gave it a shot. I wasn't into it.
It's not for me, no.
No.
It looks cool in short bursts from like every time I see it in passing, I'm like, damn, it looks cool. But anytime I spend extended time with it, I'm just like, it's just tanks, man.
Well, I was never good at that like aim the arrow game where you have to like hit the other guy from 100 yards away.
All about trajectory.
Yeah, exactly.
Gotcha. You're not a physics man.
No.
Okay. All right. But I don't know. Total Biscuit's never been known for waiting to give his gut reaction.
Right.
And he's been very publicly shitting on WCS lately, so.
Sure. Well, he put a lot of his personal money into a team that got rather screwed over by the WCS format.
Right.
So it's been a rough year for a lot of people. Of course, this combined, which is surely a backlash from the stranglehold that WCS has here in America and in other places of the world too. But it seems like the North American scene has suffered the most from WCS trying to organize it for itself.
At the moment, like if I were to look at it right now today, I'd be like, wow, StarCraft is dead in North America. That would be my sensationalist reaction.
Don't look at it today. That's
exactly.
It's the wrong thing to do.
No, exactly. It's dumb.
And I feel like we need to make a slight apology for last episode because we mentioned that the finals are happening the same weekend as the International Dota Tournament. Mm-hmm. And these are the regional finals. But we completely ignored the fact that these regional finals are just the finals for those regions. On the 23rd of August is when we're going to have the official Season 2 finals. So in Blizzard's mind, to us, when we were following our particular tournaments, I'm really excited for the Korean final. It seems really odd and out of place. Mm-hmm. But when you think that Blizzard's considering the finals with 6 invites from each, 5 from, and then the hosting nation gets 6, but that's the big event for them.
Right.
So not all the eggs are in one big Dota basket.
Right. Matter of fact, I watched a little bit of the preliminaries this weekend for the International. For the record, I have no idea how to be a spectator for Dota. I have no clue whatsoever.
Isn't that refreshing though? Like
It is kind of interesting. I'm just kind of taking it in.
I'm just like, these people's faces mean nothing to me. And there's like some dude like wearing the most outrageous jackets I've ever seen in my life. I wouldn't be surprised if never mind.
Well, actually, that was probably one of the things that was really refreshing for me was the casters would pop up and they just looked like normal dudes. I'm like, God damn, I miss normal frickin' looking people casting my stuff.
Well, and like the casters are there on the stage. Hey, the commentary is actually out in the lobby. So people coming into the event can see the guys who are just shooting the shit. Mm-hmm. And inside the event is where the actual casting's going on. It's a pretty sweet deal. But hey, we'll be questioning Disco about that stuff later.
Yeah. Getting a bit ahead of ourselves. If you want, you can check out our show notes. They'll be up tomorrow when this podcast posts. For links to all of this jazz, we have the link to the Big Team Liquid thread that is discussing the this MLG news, as well as the StarCraft Reddit thread. Some other funny things that came out of Twitter and such. Cloakin, the community manager for StarCraft 2 from Blizzard, had no idea this was happening. He apparently was just as surprised as us because he had to tweet asking Sundance, why?
Yeah.
Why is this happening? Which is really funny when you think of when you bring up the point that you made earlier, Kyle, which is, well, it is the only game that they have to pay the developer for to have, as opposed to being paid for having it. So that's interesting. But by far and away, in my opinion, the best thing that has come out of the community in reaction to this was In Control's Reddit post. If you head on over to Reddit right now, I think it's the top damn thing, just entitled "Let's Have a Chat." And he goes on for a really lengthy read, but it's worth it. And if you, it does exactly what I want. He's very earnest. He calls out what sucks, and then he brings it around and like, listen, I don't know why everyone is so hell-bent on StarCraft. Where did this notion come from, where if we're not number one, that it's not worth being part of?
Right. And I feel like that matters to a lot of people, actually. I do think over the course of this weekend, we're going to lose some StarCraft fans because they want to be a part of the biggest, baddest thing happening at the time. Same people who jump teams, you know?
That's absolutely fine. And screw those people. They have no souls. So when they die and go to the gray zone where people with no souls go, so be it. I'm going to a land full of science fiction monsters, and it's going to be amazing.
Well, and it really brought to light the idea that, hey, team games are going to be more popular because they invite more people to play them. Mm-hmm. And also because the duties are divided over multiple teammates, they're often a lot easier. Now, don't ever say that in a Dota game. Oh my God. I've never made as big as a mistake in my life when I think I forgot to stun someone once. And this dude was like, why are you even playing? Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, dude, get off my back. I'm just playing to relax. And he's like, relax? What are you doing? Like I play StarCraft. If I want to relax, I play Dota.
Oh, there went any chance of us ever interviewing anyone that plays Dota ever again. There it goes. Right out the window. Thank you, Kyle.
Hey, they can make their own arguments. I'm sure orchestrating a team, and hell, I can think of nothing more fun than sitting around coming up with code names for our various sweet moves. But that's a whole nother beast when you're working with a team, and that's where the actual skill comes in. But when I'm just sitting by myself, just having a good time mid-laning, like, whatever.
Fair enough. But go read In Control's post. It's great. He's got some great quotes in there. I love at the very end. He says, "Do you think I'm biased? You are goddamn right. I am biased. I am biased as shit, but I am also a fairly intelligent, logical human being, mostly. And I can tell you, I am not filling out applications for other places or creating a plan B. I feel secure, and I know that while right now things aren't as sparkly as they were in 2010, I know we will be fine."
Right, and hey, how about this? We are still the 1v1 game. There is nothing in the world that is even on the horizon or looks close to what StarCraft has.
Right. That's a very, very good point. Can you think of another? I'm slightly off topic, but on topic of a point we brought up slightly earlier. Can you think of a different medium where it's this mentality of, if the thing I enjoy is not the top thing in that genre or media, I have no time for it. Because honestly, I can't think of one.
Yeah, well, and the only other comparison that kept popping in my mind all day, it's the exact same feeling when WoW is dying, quote unquote. But this is exactly what's permeating the air. I mean, every single time a new MMO comes out, this feeling just sweeps the community.
I feel like the WoW community is more resilient or more hardened at this point, and I feel like they were always
over time
a little more positive than the esports community. At least
well,
the loud people.
Again, you're dealing with people like communicating for emotional goals and versus like actual competing money getting competitors.
No one's losing money because their hunter died in a raid.
Yeah.
Unless they're one of the few competitive raid teams out there. Anyways, getting off topic.
But that was the closest thing I could find. I mean, maybe...
Because, I mean, look at TV shows. Like The Walking Dead is an incredibly successful show. It's full of almost 10 million viewers per episode. But 10 million viewers is like nothing in television. I mean, in the grand scheme of things. But you don't see everyone just like, it's not the #1 show. I'm out. I'm done.
Yeah, I know people who follow box offices like this with movies, and if it's not the #1
you're gonna
for
see
the weekend,
some bad movies if that's how you live your life.
What? No, just following the box office.
What's #1 this weekend? Oh, the Smurfs 2. I'm gonna go see that.
I can assure you, the Smurfs was not #1. That was a bomb, dude. That thing is tragic.
Oh, was it a bomb?
Yes.
I don't follow C-rate animated films on the box office. So.
Me neither, but I've had to be subjected to the posters all around Chicago for the past couple weeks, and they are cringeworthy.
I hated the Smurfs when I was a kid, and it's even worse now. It's the only thing. It is literally the only thing I can think of where I've looked at it and said, Neil Patrick Harris, what were you thinking?
Well, they just recently put Rescuers Down Under up on Netflix, and there are like 10-minute spans where that kid's like riding an eagle, and it's like supposed to be the like most majestic thing in the world, and it just keeps going and going. But hey, like that was the biggest spectacle in animation that had ever been seen at the time.
Yeah, I was about to say, I remember as a kid having my mind blown the first time I saw that. So there is that. Hey, write in, guys. Next week, we'd love to take some emails on the subject of StarCraft 2 no longer being at MLG Columbus. Granted, Sundance gave himself the out of saying it might change. I doubt it. But let us know. Write us in. The email is starcastshow@gmail.com. Get on it, podcast listeners. Anyways, on the bright side of things, drama aside, giant Dota contests or tournaments aside, I don't care. The WCS Season 2 finals, regional finals, are this weekend. And no matter what yes, am I happy it's all happening at the same time? No. Is it going to affect me in the long run? Probably not as much, because Korea and Europe, I'll watch via VOD anyway. But it's happening. It's going to be this weekend, and whatever your opinion, there's going to be some phenomenal StarCraft on display.
Yeah.
That's really, again, we've said this over and over again on the subject of WCS, which has been such a hot button topic this entire year. But at the end of the day, the games have been phenomenal. So I can't spear it entirely.
Well, I mean, even today's like round of Protoss and nothing but, well, other than poor Polt, but being squeezed in. And then they had some Challenger League games, which is like all MC versus PvP. So even those were good today.
Yeah, everything, even the placement matches for the Premier League of Korea Season 2, because they did the weird Pro League format that I don't really like. I don't care. They're fighting for 5th place. And the games were phenomenal.
Well, that's also a place to compete in the Season 2 finals happening on the 23rd.
Right.
So, but yeah, they were fighting hard.
Still, it's like no one was holding back. There's some damn good games in that. We'll talk a little bit about that when we get to the tournament results. But anyways, yeah, finals of this weekend, Korean finals, are going to be all on one day. It's going to be this Saturday at 4 a.m. Eastern, 1 a.m. Pacific for those of us in the States. Day one of the European finals is Saturday at 8 a.m. Eastern, 5 a.m. Pacific. America's day one is also Saturday, but at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific. Day two of European is on Sunday at 6 a.m. Eastern, 3 a.m. Pacific. And the day two of American finals is Sunday, again at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific. So get your StarCraft on. Don't let that shiny Dota pull you away. Even though I'm totally going to be watching some International 3. But I will also be watching plenty of StarCraft. So go check it out. The full schedule can be found on the official WCS site and all that jazz. Kyle, are you stoked? Do you have a guy that you're rooting for?
Well, of course, Scarlet made into the round of 8, so that's super exciting. It's a little confusing because when you look at the brackets right now for EU and America, and then you go over to the Korean one, which is all set and ready to go for the finals. The other two are like, it says round of 16, like happening today. You're like, wait, what? You guys are kind of on a time limit here. This weekend, let's go. But so the only finalists we know about right now are Rain and Maru, which I don't know if it'll be good or not.
Really?
Both had to execute such specific play style. Not so much Rain against Bomber. That was a really good matchup. I really enjoyed watching that and had some really cool moments throughout. But Rain had to do a few things to get around Bomber, who's become really good recently. But then you have Maru, who was like a cheese machine.
That was the story of the week, man.
Yeah.
I mean, he dismantled Innovation. Now, granted, Innovation's worst matchup is TVT. He's not a fan of the mirror matchup. But
sure, and it's weird how like we can be like, Innovation, he has no style, he's just perfect. And it's like, well, actually, he does have a style. It's that he's going so perfect, he has this big flaw in like the whole beginning of the game where he thinks he's too perfect. So Maru just 4-0'd him. It was ridiculous. So how will that compete next to Rain? It could lead to some really awful matches. But hey, Maru, he's probably going to study the hell out of Rain, and we'll get some good show out of it.
Yeah, hopefully that helps. So, excuse me. I'm sorry.
Joking on nothing?
Yeah, and then I lost my show notes. So I'm going to just derail the show entirely and hope that our editor gets this out of the podcast version. Ha. They are back. So go watch yourself some WCS finals. It's going to be good. All right, time to the map pool for Season 5. We talked a lot about this on This Week in Blizz on Monday, so if you want to see a really in-depth chat about that, check that out.
Well, check it out with the pictures open. We got a little excited.
We did. It probably wasn't the best thing for audio only, but hey, what you gonna do, man?
Still, Blizzard hasn't officially posted this, so you're kind of working like half off what they said or what David Kim threw out on the boards 9 days ago, and what TL has picked up.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, they've got Yonsu, Frost, and Polar Night pictures up for all three of those new maps. As we said on This Week in Blizz, I dig the style. I love that Yonsu has this kind of subtle frostbitten top right corner. It's very nice. Frost, on the other hand, is the freezing cold Arctic tundra that you've been kind of wanting ever since we saw the teaser level for Heart of the Swarm that was covered in ice. So are you happy, Kyle? It's finally here.
I'm happy. I want Yetis, but I'm okay.
You want Yetis? Okay.
Just a few Yetis.
Yeah, and then Polar Night also. So we've got a kind of overarching Frost theme with these. Polar Night is the one I'm the most curious about just because of these kind of square platforms that go all the way through the map. If you take a look at it, you've got... It's like stairs almost. I'm kind of curious how that's going to work out, and I think it's going to be fun as hell to do tank pushes on this map with all this high ground stuff going on.
Yeah, and our reoccurring maps are going to be Alkalon Wastes, Belshir Vestige, Derelict Watcher, and Whirlwind. So sadly, one of my favorites, not for play, just because it looks sweet, is Star Station's out. We got Core Hall Sky Island going out, Neoplanet S on its way out, but we've heard more than enough about the problems with that map. So we're making some replacements here.
Yep, good stuff. I'm curious to get in and try these guys.
I'm a little sad that Red City is out so quickly, or we're not seeing another incarnation of it. It was such a weird map with its double destructible rocks to get into a third and a natural, as well as this weird dip right outside your front. This bowl with the lings simmer in or something.
Yeah, but I mean, maps they come back sometimes.
Yeah, and hey,
it's been more cutthroat than usual with the way they tied it into the WCS, but I like it like that.
Yeah,
I'm glad that our I need to stop reading the chat room. I'm glad that our pool is now what is in rotation in the major tournaments. So it's kind of what we've always wanted. So
yeah,
be happy, Kyle. Damn it,
I'm happy.
You finally got the flavor pudding you want. Now you don't want to eat it.
What?
Moving on. Stephano retired this past week. This is, as per what he announced many months ago. Stephano played his last professional game of StarCraft 2 this past Tuesday. This was during WCS. He was knocked out of the tournament in his final game by Luciferon. So he's off to pursue his studies to become a doctor.
Yep, bowed out gracefully, thanked his fans in the final game, and that was that.
Yeah, like you said at the top, man, I was expecting something. I don't know what I was expecting, but it wasn't that it would be this calm.
Well, EG has a good PR department. I'm sure he has been briefed thoroughly on what he can do.
Hey, you know what Idra did? Don't do that.
No, but he got fired instead of leaving. So
I have to say, also, if you're on your way out, I mean, that's when you screw around, dude. When it's your last day of work, that's when you juggle all the stuff down the aisle. It's when you prank call your boss.
I'm sure he would have had more prepared if he would have won, or if he took the whole season. Yeah, you bet there would have been a display.
I one last thing. That's when you take a screenshot of the desktop, then make that the wallpaper and hide the desktop.
Yeah,
that's what you do on your last day at work.
Oh yeah. Speaking of Idra, did you see his cast with Kaldor?
From ROG.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, I'm really stoked to see him doing stuff. I like him as a caster.
And everything he's been through emotionally, he just has so much. It might be hard to hold on to that in the player's head mindset, but just being able to look at someone and be like, oh, he's nervous as hell, is worth having him around for.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I dig it. I hope to see more from him. Anyways, Blizzard launched a Barcraft portal this week. They added it on to the WCS site, and this is nice. They've got just a big long list of you can filter by like country. Like I'm going to do United States. There we go. Bam. Although I have a feeling there's a lot more than 6 Barcrafts going on in the entire whole of the U.S. What do you think?
For this weekend, with pub stomps happening, I don't know.
Maybe not.
Pub stops being the Barcraft equivalent for Dota.
Gotcha. So what is our bars like MLG2 now? Sorry, we can only have one game, and it better be the game that's worth keeping around.
I don't think bars have had to deal with it before. Regular sports have seasons.
Yeah. Good point. We got an update on the Chinese pro player visa situation that we talked about last week. Last week we were talking about Blizzard was kind of stepping up and helping Chinese players secure visas to travel to compete in WCS. This week, both Maxed and Jim got their visas to come to America for the WCS. Again, all the news this week, almost all of it, came via Twitter.
Yep.
Found out about Maxed getting his from Dignitas Dreams Twitter, and then Mr. Bitter informed everyone of Jim's visas acquisition. So that's very cool. Not so cool is Violet, who was not so lucky. They had to go out and make an official announcement that he unfortunately was unable to obtain a visa to compete in the offline portion of WCS America Season 2 in the round of 16. So his opponents are receiving walkovers into Group A.
Yeah, that's disappointing.
Not not the best way.
No, to give up your spot or exit a tournament? No.
Yeah, or just as a tournament, not even just Violet aside, this is not the best way to see tournament brackets progress.
Yeah.
So that sucks. But
well,
at least it's not all bad. At least some players are getting around this visa problem.
Yeah, and this is a really new issue for the government as well as, transportation across the world. Like it's real expensive, but things are becoming more international.
Damn it, someone at Blizzard needs to call up Riot and just be like, hey, who is your contact at the government? Come on.
Yeah. It's got to be easier, though, when it's just all under one roof. I mean, all these teams been around forever. All these different tournaments they had to organize into WCS. Just, you can't own it. And then you're like, why don't we post the new maps? And they're like, well, we can put together a sweet website and we'll post all the pictures. And it's like, or David Kim can go post on the forums and Team Liquid will take care of it.
That's a good point. So, good news. DreamHack is adding another, country to its list of stops. DreamHack is coming to Moscow in 2014, specifically October. So, Russia, you're going to get your DreamHack fix.
Yeah.
This is via a tweet by Robert Olin, head boss over at DreamHack. Dude, if you're listening, I don't know if you heard, but like our last bastion of StarCraft LAN in North America just, cast us aside in under 140 characters or less. So if you're looking for a new stop for DreamHack,
this has been on the table for so long. I mean, they've mentioned before that they're like almost coming, maybe next year. Like so,
it's out. We know it's in the works. They're just trying to figure out the logistics. So, God, I'd love to be a fly on the wall during all those talks. Figure out exactly how that's progressing.
Yeah.
So make it happen. Let's get a hashtag DreamHack to the U.S. That's what I want. Start a movement right now. So anyways, there were tournaments this past week, despite the fact that they're all happening this weekend. All the tournaments! All of them, Kyle. But as you said, both America and Europe seem to be running very fast to get through the rest of the tournament so that they can compete in the finals.
Getting caught up.
Weekend. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We already talked about WCS America. The big story there is that Scarlet advances into the round of 8, so that's very, very good.
Which is good, too, because she's Zerg, and apparently, since last WCS, Zerg isn't quite as hot as it was.
No, it appears... The racial distribution still seems to be like Protoss is on the low end, but as far as who's actually progressing, Zerg's having some problems.
Yeah, which is really interesting, too, because we're seeing such Zerg ownage at the single weekend tournaments.
Yeah. So, as we mentioned earlier, the placement matches for WCS Korea Season 2 happened. That's what I enjoyed this week. They were good damn games. I enjoyed them all, but if we're going to just talk briefly about one game in particular, tell me you saw Game 2 of Sulky versus Supernova.
No, I didn't. I ended up watching Symbol versus First that day. So I missed that one. What happened?
Oh, wait, no, sorry. That was the one sorry, that's the one I was thinking of, the one with all the swarm hosts.
Because I was like, Game 2. That's
sorry, Sulky versus Supernova was also phenomenal. It was actually probably my favorite game of the day. But I wanted to bring up First versus Symbol because it had the ridiculous swarm host push, and I was just watching this like, this is what I imagine Kyle dreams about when he goes to sleep at night. Damn.
Yeah.
So were you happy even though Simple didn't win?
I was. It was actually a really good game. It's so interesting to see these professional Protoss players because, like, in this game, just threw away the mothership core again. I'm like, stop it, please. Like, it's
he threw it away a couple times. He kept bringing it back.
I know, but it's an amazing unit. Like, baby it. Love it. It's a caster.
He was loving it. He was slowing down locusts. Who slows down for units?
That was nice.
First does. It's so great. Chat room yelling, I hate swarm hosts. Really? The whole game is based around the fact that you're supposed to hate everything that's happening at any time.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything we can bring up that people don't hate.
Workers.
In some degree.
No, I hate workers. I hate when workers come over and harass my SCV while it's building the barracks. It drives me bananas.
I don't hate overlords. I don't hate overlords. They scout me, but they take so long. I'm like, either I deserve it and they got away, or I killed it, but they got a scout.
All right, that's a good point.
There are much less sinful ways there are more sinful ways to scan my base, such as dropping a scan and being like, oh, come on. You're just sitting there.
It almost feels random to you, right? Because it happens and you're just like, oh, come on. You like just got the one thing you were trying to hide.
Right, or you're sitting there and you're about to put down the spire and you're like, okay, thanks for adding 10 seconds to my wait time here.
Yeah. And then you put it down and they just drop another one. Just
Luckily, that doesn't happen too much.
I could have had mutas.
Maybe
10
I'm
seconds earlier.
Playing in the wrong league here.
Yeah. But if you want to see good Siege Zerg, even if in the end it doesn't end up being successful, Game 2 of First versus Symbol, really good stuff.
Yeah, well, and just first pushing out, having to clean up some creeps so that the swarm host would stop owning him and being so damn fast on the ground. So he pushes back the creep far and have so many spine crawlers going up in the backgrounds. And
spore crawlers on the front line, so you couldn't go in with DTs. He could snipe off observers.
It was a piece of work. But they just threw themselves at each other, lose everything they both have. Symbol looks like he's going to go into the best Muta switch ever. But first just goes, nah, I have 2-3 Archons. I think I can handle this. And just steamrolls through the front door.
That was painful to watch.
It was so cool. It was also really cool in Rain vs. Bomber to see the Archons having that in one of the defenses. I think it was in game 1 there. It was a futile hold, and actually I think the Flying Factory won Bomber that game, because if the Archons were attacking workers during that moment, hell yeah, they would have all died. But they were just poking that factory in the air.
Yeah. Freaking, it's good stuff. Game 2 of Sulky versus Supernova, though, was probably my favorite. It was just a really good back and forth. One of those ones where the casters don't even know who's going to... this guy is obviously going to win. Wait, oh, wow. Never mind. The other guy is totally going to win. Holy, never mind. Sorry, back to the first guy. He's totally going to... And it's just back and forth and back and forth. Just... What?
Yeah, and we got to see some Viper play, too, which was nice after last week's discussion. Not executed the best, but I still don't expect much of a Tier 3 unit this soon after the release of a game. I mean, remember Ultralisks in Wings of Liberty? Like, wandering the field aimlessly, looking for something to do?
Yep. Also, completely unrelated to the awesome gameplay in Game 2 of Sulky versus Supernova, but this is the first game where I noticed someone using the crazy high new camera angle that they added in with the latest update. That is so great. It's just as awesome as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah. It borderlines on that. Well, why wasn't this here before?
It pretty much it is one of those. It's totally one of those.
Sits firmly on the side.
Yeah, exactly. As we talked about earlier, Asus ROG Summer 2013 happened this past weekend. This was the one that was casted by Kaldor and Idra. Second year in a row, Teja takes first place, takes home a cool $10,000. So stoked for him. I love me some Teja. I may have switched the name of my Thorn WoW back to Teja from Innovation. Just putting it out there.
Or Innovation, you fanboy.
Well, clearly, Kyle, if the Terran I'm rooting for isn't the best Terran in the world, I just have no use in rooting for him anymore.
Was this the tournament where Let me see here real quick.
What?
Oh, yeah, this was... Okay, cool. Because this was at the very beginning. Yeah, this started right as we finished our show last week. So I was a little confused because I think it was that Friday DRG won his game. And I was like, oh, yes, come on. We're finally back in... Never mind.
Nope. Yeah, poor guy. Him and both our old favorites, him and MKP, man. They're just... They've kind of just fallen from grace. So Zerg not doing too hot in this tournament either. The highest place in Zerg was Hyun in 4th place, underneath
Not
2
horrible.
Protoss. Yeah, but
And it's nice to see Protoss getting their time.
right, exactly, because the entire beginning of Heart of the Swarm has been kind of rough for them.
Yeah. I think it's all on that mothership core, man.
Yeah,
Stop letting it die. Use it. It's good.
exactly. But anyways, I think that wraps up the results. Are you ready to have Disco call in and talk Dota and StarCraft?
Yeah, let's summon him on in.
All right, let's Ryan, if you're listening live, I'm going to add you to the call now. Oh crap, I totally screwed up my overlay. Fixing. There it is. Yeah. So hopefully he's standing by.
Well, he's in the chat, and I think I hear him.
Oh. I'm also hearing myself.
I think we need some headphones there,
I think
Disco.
we do need some headphones there, Disco. This is great live stuff right here.
Poor noobing.
I'm going to stop the record there and start it again. Give him a nice little place there.
All right, here we go.
Yes!
Sorry.
Do you have headphones
Oh
on?
my gosh. I do have headphones on.
Why can I still hear myself?
Oh, it's not happening anymore.
It is on my end. That's weird. Okay, now it's gone. Sweet. Awesome.
Oh, you're calling my actual phone. It all makes sense now.
What?
Your Skype call went to my actual phone number.
Oh, that's
Isn't
Oh.
technology
strange.
wonderful.
Yeah, it is. It makes your life so much easier, right? Because it always works as intended.
Exactly.
So anyway, let me do a professional welcome to the show for the podcast audience that get the tailored, nice, pretty version of this. Discorax, welcome to the show. How you doing, man?
I'm doing fantastic. Good to be here.
So, for those of you who don't know, Disco's kind of the guy behind the scenes doing everything else that isn't editing the show. You keep the site up and the forums running and everything running smoothly.
And just hanging out.
Yeah,
Mostly we're just keeping the little things rolling and listen to the show. That's what I do mostly.
it's good to hear. It's good to hear. Keep it rolling. But
We have you on today for a special occasion because you have been really swept up in the Dota tournament.
Yes, I have. Well, I'm lucky. I actually reside in the Pacific Northwest in Seattle, where the event is taking place. So it's local. It's a local tournament for me, which made it all the more painful when I wasn't able to get tickets.
I was
Do you
about
have to drive
say,
by the signs every day or anything?
There was a bunch of tweeted photos from both the Dota account and from some of the players and also the casters that are taken literally at my bus stop.
Oh,
So I walked by them this morning.
Oh, that's so sad. I'm sorry, dude. Oh,
Watching
they have
the
a
game.
sick stage setup, by the way. I was seeing a bunch of pictures as they were setting the stage up. I'm just like, damn, that's like Iron Maiden's about to walk out on that damn thing.
They did some really impressive work. I mean, that's actually a good segue if you want to talk about some of the production stuff they're doing. That's one of the reasons why I'm so excited about what the International is doing. So obviously you guys have seen at least a few games, as probably everybody has, based on the numbers that we saw from Twitch. But
Yeah, I watched some of the preliminaries last week, and I haven't watched anything that started. What, did it start yesterday?
yes, Wednesday was the
Of
the
the
beginning-
massive LAN
That's
event,
correct.
of the finals.
the main event. Yes,
right,
correct.
right, exactly. That I have not watched, so tell me about it.
So, first of all, there was a bunch of stuff leading up to it, and like this has been a pretty huge event, and obviously it's a yearly thing that they had the International 2 last year. But
Right.
the thing that's got me is I got into Dota 2 probably about 6 months ago, and Achilles, friend of the show as well, sort of got me playing. He's like, here, I'll teach you the ropes. And I was like, oh, this is hard, I don't get it. And then he's taught me like 3 or 4 basic mechanics, and I was like, oh, this is fun. I like this now.
I apparently need to play with you then, because Kyle's a great Dota player. And no offense, Kyle, I'm going to insult you here. You're the worst goddamn teacher on the face of this earth. You're awful.
Because I don't get mad at you? Is that still your issue?
This is any game of here it is. This is dramatic realization of Garrett and Kyle playing Dota together. Dude, what do we do? Kyle, what should I be doing? Silence. Kyle, what should I be? I don't know, man. I'm over here. Dude, I just spent my town portal to go over there. I don't know. Kill creeps. Oh shit, you just got killed twice.
Back. I'm last hitting. Stop.
Yeah.
What? Why don't you have a town portal? Wait. Why don't you have any boots yet? What are boots? You just killed our courier. We have a courier?
I'm not that bad, okay? I know.
I was.
I know how to heal myself, but like, dear God forbid I get to the point where like I'm past the basic items. I don't know what to do, and Kyle's just off in his zone. And I'm just like, oh my God, I'm terrible. We're losing, and it's my fault.
I'm useless because I have been playing this game for 13 plus years.
But you never really. The funny thing I find about you and Dota, Kyle, is I don't feel like you have ever looked at it as a team game.
No, because I've always just done pubs. So I'm like, there is computerized players around me, and I always play support. So I love watching them win. But that's the game to me. It's just like healing in a random, looking for raid or something.
Oh, okay. I guess that's a good way. Maybe that's what I'm doing wrong. Maybe I need to learn how to play support.
That's what I play as well. I've gravitated that, but I've all my games I kind of gravitate to that. All the team games, I'm like the support guy, the guy who always has to be in position, but is never responsible for getting the killing blows.
Well, it sounds like if we ever play together, we're gonna have a really good composition.
Well, it's funny because most of the time when you go on pubs, and Kyle probably attested this, is that you get in there, and if so you actually play support, it's really easy to win because in the public setting, like nobody plays support, and supports are a vital role, but people don't ever do them, or at least they don't do them properly. So
right. Good point.
But anywho, I wanted to talk. So I know you brought me on here just to talk a little bit about the lead up to the event, and so I wanted to talk about the compendium. Are you familiar with what that is? Have you heard about that at all?
Vaguely, and only from listening to the Giant Bombcast, so I usually zone out a little bit.
So, in my opinion, the compendium is the best esports idea ever. It is a in-game item that you purchase. I think it was like $10, and first of all, it's the perfect hype building machine. So they made it available like 3 months ago before a lot of the tournaments, even the preliminary stages even started, and you got to enter. You got to start learning about players. You got to start entering in like who you think is going to do well. You got to start voting, and in addition to just adding in this element of fantasy sports to Dota, it's in game. It gives you bonus points. It gives everybody you play with extra experience, and it gives you extra drops, first of all, for just buying it. And then for every game that you watch, if you're either in-game or on Twitch, it gives you the chance to get even more item drops just because you have this item. It's like the perfect hype machine. It's just such a smart idea for getting people to be excited about the esports aspects of Dota and the competitive play in Dota. And it's like right in the game. It was just so intelligent. It's one of the best ideas that I think that has come out of Valve in, a while.
Well, and it's also extremely disappointed when you go into Dota, you see the international plastered on your load screen, plastered on the main page of the store. You can watch the games, the esports games in the game client, control the camera for yourself, and then you switch over to StarCraft 2 and not a word. No advertisement for anything happening this weekend.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if I mentioned it. Did I tell you that the compendium has player cards?
Yeah, and I've been unlocking those as I played, and I have no idea what they're about.
So when you have those, what you do is you can right click and you can stamp them into your compendium like you're creating a collection. And if you get the whole team, you get a special item.
Oh my god, that's
trade
awesome.
them with other people. You can trade them with other people and build
They're
your perfect
virtual
team.
trading cards for professional video gamers.
It's like
seriously,
Dota Monopoly.
Exactly. And
That's
like
so
imagine,
awesome.
imagine yourself. Okay, so let's go back a year, and we're getting ready for an MLG.
I'm sorry. You just reminded me of the Joker from Dark Knight. Let's go back a year. None of these cops would dare touch you. I mean, what happened? Did your balls drop off? Let's continue.
So let's go back, and you can assemble all of EG. So it's like, dude, I got 3 Idras. Can I trade you for what I'm going to trade you for? Like, I can trade you for an ink control. Oh, good. Now I can complete my set. And now I got a special EG pendant that shows up on my map. And every time I play a game, I see this little EG pendant that's saying, I support EG, and I collected all their cards. Because that's what they have in this game.
I want the rare misprint that shows Idra as still an active player on the roster.
Well, we did go back a year. I mean, come on.
I know. I'm being serious though. That'd be great because
This is
the idea of collectible cards. I like that quite a bit.
It's a first edition Idra where his cheeks are blue instead of pink. It's a misprint, but it's real worth something.
Exactly. I've got the mint edition rookie card.
That's great.
It's when he still played Terran. So, in addition to that, the whole idea, like that card idea, is not only is it like this cool thing that you collect and assemble, but it's introducing you to all the players that you've never heard of. So you can not only hear their names, what teams they're on, but then you know their faces, so you can actually like associate them as a person instead of just what characters they play and what heroes they play. It's really smart. Like, it's a really cool thing, and it's part of the whole International 3 hype, and I really think it's really cool.
That has to be stupid helpful too, because I got to say one of the things one of the many things I find difficulty with in spectating Dota is the fact that Dota, the game itself, there's so many heroes that it's hard to identify with the players, like you were just saying. Like in StarCraft,
Exactly.
It's like, this is a Zerg player, this is a Terran player. You have 3 options for what a player is going to be, as opposed to Dota, where there's many options, and it's very, very rare that someone's going to play the same hero enough times to make it a thing that they're identified with.
Exactly. And it's more that you identify with the role, like Kyle was saying, like you more follow your supports or your carries or your, those kind of things. And it's funny thing is, you honestly, until you get far enough into the game, like after you've played maybe 10 or 20 games, you have no idea what that even means. So it's nice to understand, oh, that's what a support does. So anywho, that I thought some of those aspects are really cool, and they got me really excited.
Yeah.
And again, I know we don't want to, like, we've already had enough bad StarCraft 2 news, but like there are a couple of things that like I want to talk about just specifically to Dota 2 as compared to StarCraft. So
most certainly.
I've been watching a lot of the Dota 2, the international stuff, and I have that on in the background. Same thing I used to do with WCS. Actually, I still do with WCS. But my son has been coming in and watching. And he really likes Zerg because he loves the bugs. So he's always playing that. He started off liking the lasers because Colossus are awesome. But now he's gravitated to the bugs. So there you go, Kyle. And since I'm playing random now, I don't have any, I don't need to worry about it. But since I've had Dota 2 on, there's so much variety. He's like, oh, Daddy, look at that guy. It's a dragon. I'm like, yeah, that dragon has 2 heads. One shoots fire, one shoots ice. He's like, oh, that's awesome. And it's like, look at that. It's like a little bug. Yeah, he can burrow into the ground and he comes up on you and you go, ow. And this guy's got lightning. And he loves all the different characters, so much so that he wants to play. So I can proudly say that last night I created a separate Steam account, downloaded the free-to-play version of Dota, and I have my laptop and I have my home computer, and my son and I are going to play some bot games.
That is awesome. I love that your son loves Dota for the one reason I think it's a little lame.
I've got to know your audience, I guess.
I've just a little bit. It's a little lame because all of the characters are based off of whatever just happened to be a playable model in Warcraft 3. So you have some really lame heroes.
It's
like,
true. They can't
here's
change their
two-headed
shape.
dragon man. Yeah,
All they do is change their names now, but like the core essence is.
yeah. It's like
very
it's like,
true. Very,
oh, that's
very
a wisp. That's a night elf. That's a troll.
I think
That's-
Alchemist is one of the most hideous, stupid-looking things on the planet. But of the games I watched today, he was being picked every time.
I like Alchemist.
Because he's a beast.
I like Alchemist a lot. If for no other reason, it reminds me of Master Blaster from Mad Max. That's one of my more favorite ones. The ones I don't. It's like think about like a wisp, and you have just like random spider number 3, and those are the ones. But I mean, overall, but I'm sure all of you are aware of what an art whore I am. I think Dota.
Not a whore. You are an aficionado.
Whatever. choose your words. Dota. I think Dota 2 is one of the most gorgeous games out there. I love the art direction. It's just a minor little thing that I have to laugh at sometimes because there's just a few heroes who are just like, couldn't they have just thrown that out the window entirely and done something new and just kept the mechanics? Because they're just so silly looking. So there's
it's all those purists out there. Well, there was one more aspect of like relationships that I want to draw between WCS and the international, and that is the idea behind the. Like when WCS decided they weren't going to region lock, it basically opened up the 3 regions to the top players. Mm-hmm. And the top players are mostly Korean. And like for me specifically as a fan, I'm not quite as interested in just seeing like if I want to see the best games, I can probably just go and watch the best games. But I like to see the story and the build up. And I like to relate to the players that I'm watching. And the problem that I have with the no region lock is that, obviously there's no North Americans in the North American region. And then I'm looking at stuff like the Grubby game, where Grubby pulls out the amazing win. Spoilers. Well, actually, it was 2 days ago, so it's okay. Can I spoil that result?
Yeah, we have a whole results section here on the show.
If it has the rule about StarCast, if it has happened, it can be talked about.
Got it. All right. So Grubby, he takes the win 2-1 over MVP. So that's huge. Grubby in his mind didn't think he could beat him, and then he ended up preparing a strategy that he didn't think MVP would be prepared for, and he ended up winning 2-1. And he was really excited, and he was emotional. And there's the pictures of him, just breaking down in tears. And they had the interview afterwards where they were talking to him, and he was speaking English. And you could actually communicate with the interviewer, and you could see the emotion, and you could see the story, and it was really powerful, and it was fantastic. And then a couple, 2 games later, I think who was it? So I can't remember who it was. Somebody else won a different match. They had him on. It went through a translator. It was awkward. It was slow, and it had very little emotion. And I look at the TI, the international today. They had Loda, who came on. He's a big player for Alliance. They're undefeated right now. They're playing really well. He came on, spoke really good English, had a great interviewer. There was a lot of passion. There was a lot of emotion. It was really cool, and you could connect with it. And I think that because WCS didn't region lock, they killed off, a lot of the interest for the people who want to see those stories and not necessarily who just want to see the big games. And I think that Dota 2, because Dota 2 has 3 different language streams in game. Like you can have your Chinese stream, your English stream, and your Russian stream. They're all 3 casting simultaneously in game. So they can have that interview happening on their stream. And we can have the English interview on our stream or whatever. And that just engages me more. And as somebody who's spending my time to watch this game as opposed to play it, that is more relevant to me, more interesting to me.
That's all good points. I want to lock you in a room with Ben from This Week in Blizz. Because he doesn't give a flying crap. He just I don't care if it's reason locked. I don't give a crap. The Koreans are going to win anyway. I just want to see good games. He will just ride that point forever. And I'm not saying he's wrong. But I was trying to argue the point with him. And I think your point is so much better than anything I came up with. The fact
Well, Ben and I, we'll have a throwdown.
Okay. All right. Next, we'll sell tickets. We'll be Ryan versus Ben.
Well, you've mentioned a few things, but is there anything one-to-one that you feel like StarCraft could immediately learn from the International right now? Because in-game cards, it's prizes, like those things are awesome, and rewarding people for showing up for the events and watching it, like that's so cool, but that can't be done tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, so we've come a long way, StarCraft replays. Right now, what I'm doing more often than not is I will open up the in-game client to watch the games, because you can the casters are in the in-game, but then I don't follow their view. I change the view inside the Dota 2 client to whatever view, like to a free camera, and then I can listen to them cast the game, but I can click on the hero that I want to follow. I can click on the item. I can sit there with my mouse hovered over the item that they just bought and read it and figure out what in the world it does in the comfort of my chair without people yelling at me for not using it or for buying the wrong item or for whatever. It's really cool to get into the game in that way, where you can teach yourself in the context of this professional match without any of the pressures of that happening.
That's a really good
That's
point.
really like a one-to-one. Like, yes, you can watch these streams and the casters can bring a lot to it, but imagine if you're watching like a PvP and you're like, you don't know what Blink upgrade is. You can, if you were able to do that and hover over it, you could see the description and you could see what it does and how much it costs, and you're like, oh, I get it. That makes sense. And now I know why this Blink Stalker build is so powerful, because they can get that early and then they can move around the whole map and they win because they can deny expansions and blah, 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 you know?
You
know what I mean?
just sold me on watching... Why am I hearing myself? Like really audibly. This is driving me nuts.
I hope it's not me. It probably is.
Oh, that's weird. Ooh.
Sorry, I ruined it with a laugh.
Oh no, I was going to say you just sold me on watching the International 3 from inside the actual game client as opposed to on Twitch, which is what I was originally planning to do.
And it's really nice. It's really cool. The only problem is here's the drawback, and I will you got to throw out some criticisms. So Twitch, you open it up and it just plays, and they have, by the way, they have no downtime. They have content, filler content, whether it's fluff or team interviews or talking heads or whatever. There's no downtime in their entire presentation. It's all content. But if you're watching it from inside the client, when the game ends, you're kicked out of the server and you can't listen to all that filler stuff. So that filler is only on the stream, but the game is only inside the game. So there's a little bit of a disconnect, as you can't get all the peripherals, you can't get the interviews and stuff when you're not watching the stream. But this is really cool. If you attach your Steam account to your Twitch account, you can still be eligible for item drops and loot drops by obsing the game on Twitch. You don't have to be in the game client to get the loot drops. Mm-hmm.
Sounds like they thought of everything.
And on top of that, you know, I mentioned the Barcraft thing just in the email to you, but the organizers of Barcraft here in Seattle, they're actually doing a Dota event as opposed to a WCS event, and it's all Dota. But they've got it sanctioned through Valve, and if you sign up that you're attending the sanctioned Barcraft event, all you gotta do is click a button on their website, say I'm going, and then you're eligible for the loot drops from the game when you're watching it at Barcraft.
That's badass. Well, that's great. Well, dude, thank you so much for coming on and talking about all this. I'm going to let you go now because, well, it sounds terrible and we can't continue recording.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay, Ryan. Thank you so much for coming on, dude. And,
all right.
Yep. All right. See you, man.
Bye.
Let's get him out of this group. There we go. And now it's back to Kyle. There's that ugly mug.
Aw.
That's really interesting. I'm excited for the International 3.
Yeah, I should have asked him while he was here, but I do believe you have to own the compendium to see the games in game. But
I don't think so. I don't think that's the case.
Okay, because that's how it worked for previous tournaments. You had to buy a ticket, but since this is the international, I can see why it would be free.
Or worst case scenario, if that is the case, I can't imagine they wouldn't let you buy the day of.
Yeah.
Why would they lock you out of the tournament? Like that seems really dumb. Just correct saying in the chat room that is not the case for this specific tournament.
Okay. Yeah. So that's what I thought they do.
So you're not totally crazy. Good to know. God, there's a lot of cool stuff going on in Dota.
So yeah, and to like support StarCraft, hey, it's their one big event of the year. A lot of lead up. Sure, they can throw it that way. They saw what Blizzard was struggling with for the past few years and attacked it. They didn't have any Korean teams, any previous broadcasters, any expectations really to deal with, other than the fact that it was a Warcraft 3 mod that got really competitive. They had a lot going for them.
Yeah, and to stay on the positive track, I mean, it doesn't matter. This is good. If the International 3 sounds perfect, if it sounds really awesome, if it makes you think, why aren't we doing this in this video game that I like? Those are all really good things. This is competition. This is going to breed a better environment for all of us in the long run. If this becomes the norm, all of this awesome stuff that Valve is doing with Dota, it's just going to push Blizzard and Riot, and although Riot's kind of everyone's pretty happy with how they're doing things, it's going to push everyone to do better and innovate and add more features to the way of spectating in their esports. So
right, but we can't forget that Riot and Valve have made this game completely under their umbrella and control just about every aspect of it. StarCraft 2, that is not the case. It is the world's game, and Blizzard's struggling to regain control after letting it loose on the public.
True. Again, though, you have to pay to have a StarCraft tournament.
Yeah. Yeah, and hey, this for the international, the stream's free at highest quality at 1080p, and they just announced that StarCraft, you have to pay $5.99 to get the live 1080p. With VODs, you can have other qualities and not take advantage of the special Twitch features.
Yeah.
So it's not pay to watch, but, just...
Again, good, though. I'm sure that will
absolutely
come back around at some point.
And we need this competition.
We do. We really...
Can't have Monopoly.
We really freaking do, so...
Otherwise, we get Comcast prices. Am I right?
Oh... I was going to make the joke during the visa thing that maybe what Riot did, instead of contacting someone at the government directly, was just have all of their phone conversations be about visas for esports players. And since the NSA is already listening to it, and that's the end of that joke.
It's true.
Yeah.
I feel like I've switched to Firefox, of course. But I feel like if I'm going to Google something scandalous, I use Chrome. Just so the NSA can see it.
I like my donkey porn, and I want the government to know about it.
I want this in my file, personally. I want them to go, has Kyle been committing a prawns? I don't think I really want to look through his file right now. It's like, that's right, you saved it.
Enjoy. Yeah.
And, of course, one of the big arguments... and Jia Young was mentioning in the chat room here that it is the largest esports prize pool of all time. However, I will throw out that it is, of course, going to 5 different people. And if StarCraft was a game of 5 people, we would have an even bigger pool of all time in previous games.
That's a good point.
And tournaments.
Still, it's a ton of money.
Still, yeah, a lot of money to have at one thing.
Almost 3 million. It's kind of ridiculous. So... Anyways, we have some emails. SodaPop writes in to starcastshow@gmail.com and says, I've been really surprised at the level of hate Blizzard has been getting for the scheduling thing with the International. With regards to viewer numbers, were any of us expecting the regional finals to compete with the biggest Dota 2 tournament, regardless of when it was held? I know people can make the direct comparison now, but I don't see this as something that should be compared anyway. Dota 2 is already the bigger game, and that's pretty well known, right? Isn't there also the chance that scheduling has some positive effects? No, you're crazy. Continuing. I mean, the Korea and Europe finals are going to be at crazy times in North America, so I don't see too much overlap. For the North American finals, maybe some of the Dota audience sees it on the Twitch front page and checks it out, and then they can be told, tune into the grand finals from all these regions in a few weeks. WCS may end up with more exposure than it otherwise would have had. Maybe Blizzard is being very smart to take advantage of the greatly increased Twitch traffic to get some of those viewers to check in. And with the awesome job NESL has done so far, maybe they get some new fans. It's not ideal, certainly, but I don't see it as bad as most seem to think it is. This ended up way longer than it should have been. Sorry, love the show, and wanted to add my 2 cents. Very cool. Good side of things. I don't think, to quote you, Blizzard was being smart and taking advantage of it. No, they definitely would have had more viewers had they not done this.
Yeah, I believe they think it was less of a big deal to just kind of get this out of the way, have it on this weekend. And we still got the grand finals coming.
Right. But therein lies, I think, my overall issue with the way this is handled. I don't think they're thinking. There doesn't seem to be a lot of thought, care, or discussion, or even asking like one dude, like, hey, you watch esports, would you want all 3 finals in the same weekend up against the biggest thing of the year? Well, no, that sounds like the dumbest shit I've ever heard.
Whenever I think about Blizzard hosting an event, other than BlizzCon, because BlizzCon's been fabulous, but I think of that Diablo release party with that woman coming out and saying, so who wants to play monks? Yay! And you're like, oh my God, are you serious?
It's weird. Sometimes Blizzard nails it. Like, they totally nail it. Most BlizzCons are a testament to that.
Yeah.
Any BlizzCon except for the last one we went to, which opened with Geek Is, the most loud PowerPoint presentation I was ever an accomplice to. But every BlizzCon besides that has been stellar. They're great. And even that one, despite the kind of lame opening, was a ton of fun. I'm going back this year because I believe I have told anyone who asked that BlizzCon is the most fun I have ever had. Period. It is a blast. But then other times we get things like one dude in a panda costume in front of the plastic lawn chairs army that is the WCS finals in China last year.
Some wicked awkward stuff.
Yeah.
Disco Rax makes a comment in the chat room here that the big issue is that Dota 2 and SC2 share a common audience. Mm-hmm. And if this isn't clear, look at Team Liquid.
They have the StarCraft 2 Watcher's Guide to Spectating Dota 2 on TeamLiquid.net right now.
2 games. And bringing one more game into the SC2 scene was just madness, but they did it.
Yeah. This isn't like an assumption. This is a fact that Dota 2 and StarCraft 2 have more crossover than any other competitive game.
Right. So
this PC game. I'm sure I feel in my head that there's probably a lot of crossover in fighting games, but we're talking PC games here.
Yeah. And hey, a lot of it, in my opinion anyway, is it was a Warcraft 3 mod for one, and Dota probably worked just as hard as Blizzard did to make it control like its ancestor.
Yeah.
So anyway, I think we can put a nice little lid on WCS Dota 2 talk for the day, yeah?
Yeah, I think we can. If I can just end with this, we're going to put a one-off episode podcast into the podcast stream. We'll probably just throw it in the StarCast feed. We're going to do a one-off. Probably going to record this Tuesday evening. It'll be a Dota podcast. It's got to be the most damn requested thing we hear from our listeners. Do a Dota podcast. Please do a Dota podcast. For the love of God, do a Dota podcast. So we're not going to start. This is not the beginning of a regular thing. We just figured the International 3, we're definitely going to watch it, and it'd be fun to kind of do a post-mortem discussion with Kyle and I. So look for the Secret Shop podcast on the StarCast feed after Tuesday of this upcoming week.
Right. It's a really good opportunity, too, to just talk about Dota itself. And on StarCast next week, we will be working it in, of course, and talking about the comparisons and what we noticed. But that conversation we had there, but just geeking out about Dota in general, that's going to happen over at the Secret Shop.
Exactly. Yeah, no, StarCast is never going away. Chat room, never need to worry about that. StarCraft is still my game. You can't live in a bubble.
Yeah,
We can't
investigative reporting.
We can't just be like, this is a StarCraft show and we're never going to discuss anything that's happening in any other game ever. Used my trailer voice.
and of course, be respectful this weekend. How you could be disrespectful in the chat room moving so fast, I have no idea. I don't know why people even type in that thing. But, let them have their moment. It's once a year, damn it. Let them enjoy it.
Copy and paste maybe 300 characters worth of the word fuck. Maybe that's how you
get noticed?
That's how you get noticed. I don't know.
Not completely buried, but buried in seconds nonetheless.
Yeah, this was not an invitation for the chat room to request more podcasts. I can tell you right now, there will never be a Pikmin 3 podcast with me involved. I don't understand Pikmin at all.
That was a sweet move he just pulled in Dota. I'm going to post 5 puppy pictures. Enter.
What?
Contributed. Because in Twitch, you can post people's faces, and there's that damn puppy people are always using.
Okay, good point. Whatever. So, there is that. Kevin also wrote in. He says, I totally want to play some matches with you. I am a Gold League Terran, so you know it's all about that stutta step. Not stutter step. Stut. Letter A. Step. What channel do we hang out in? We hang out in the StarCast channel.
Which is just StarCast.
Yeah, the StarCast group, if you will. So go join the StarCast group on the North American server. That's where Kyle and I tend to pop up. So there is that.
Yep, and if you see me in particular get on, the second I get on, I start giving away games or getting involved in something. So, I know I do this too. I see a friend pop on. I'm like, oh, sweet, I'm going to message them. Ooh, I'm going to give it that cool 30 seconds so I can show up casually late and be like, oh, hey, you're on.
F that, I am the desperate guy that really wants that hot girl to go out with him. The second I see any of my friends log on, I'm like, twos! Let's do twos!
Right. So if you see us on, just grab us right away before we get involved in something else.
Immediately hey, you want to do... And don't ask me for 1v1s. I have no interest in 1v1ing
you can ask me
random
for 1v1s.
people. I don't like 1v1ing. Especially random people. Not a fan. But hey, you want to knock out some team games? I jump at the chance to have a teammate that I can actually talk to. It's very nice. And I know will not bring my sexuality into question upon the slightest misclick of a Marine. It's nice. It's nice. Granted, that's what happens with Mork all the time, but he's a sexy man and I can't help myself. Yeah.
Just going to leave you to climb out of that hole.
All right, I'm going to climb out of that hole with a completely changing gears, random as hell call-in from Vince, the courier. If you want to call in and leave us a voicemail, you can do so at 941-882-0281. Let's see what Vince has to say.
Hey guys, my name is Vince. I'm a bicycle courier out in Toronto, Ontario, and I spent a lot of time on the road listening to your show, and I realized that being on the road, doing my courier thing, I actually a lot of times feel like I'm kind of in the StarCraft game. There's a lot of things about it that are like it, being able to get from one part of the town to the other, and then picking up stuff along the way. Strategizing, and even when I'm having to go through certain intersections a certain way, it almost reminds me of micromanaging. There's all these little things that you can do, and it's just and a lot of times I actually play dispatch while I'm doing it, and when I'm dispatching other couriers in my company, then it's even more. It's almost exactly like StarCraft. Anyways, I just want to ask: do you guys ever find that there's anything in your life that seems like it's StarCraft? Are you ever going around doing your stuff in your real life and you're like, oh, this is I don't know, doing some move in StarCraft? I'm still bronze. I wanted to reference something in StarCraft there, but I can't really think of anything. I've been playing for 2 months. Love the game. Love your show, obviously. Thanks, guys.
All right, Kyle. Is there anything you do in your day-to-day life that reminds you of StarCraft? And well, I may have just been playing with a Marine toy, making it fight my Thrall toy. So that reminded me of StarCraft.
Sure. Day-to-day things such as that do happen. Well, I do work in some web design and data entry. And I all the time have people coming over going, geez, how you going so fast? And also, why are you typing so damn loud? Because I'm just doing the click, Control V, Control V, Control V, Control V. And I play StarCraft. That's why.
Oh, that's funny. That's a good point. Actually, now that you brought that up, I didn't even think about this until you just told that story. I have this nervous tick I do when I'm just waiting at a computer, where I just start rapidly boxing the icons on my desktop with the mouse. I just spam box them. Just like...
I have noticed that if I'm just completely bored and like doing a tap my fingers, I'm doing SD nowadays.
Select larva drones.
Make drones.
SD. Yep. Yeah, it's a good stuff.
I have to throw this guy a compliment because he has what has apparently become the sexiest job in the world of courier. Because if there's a video game and people are like, what should his profession be to make him awesome, courier? Hey, this guy knows awesome parkour, courier.
So you're saying his day-to-day life, you imagine, is a lot like Mirror's Edge?
Mirror's Edge, Infamous, Fallout, New Vegas. There's tons of movies with couriers.
Infamous? I didn't know that.
Yeah, he was a courier first before he got lightning powers.
Oh, okay. I beat that game. I didn't love it. But the new one coming out for PS4 looks really good.
Did you play the second one?
No, I didn't play the second one.
It had a good sense of urgency.
Why did it have just random, like, swamps? Infamous, like, I never... At no
point
you're in
Louisiana.
Playing Infamous 1 was I just like, you know what this game needs? Swamps.
Well, and you do have lightning powers, so you can't swim. So it was the hazard. It's like putting lava under you.
Gotcha. Okay. All right, it just seemed random, but all right, I'll give it a shot. I'll have to pick that up. I do have a PS3, so hey, need to use it for something. Last of Us. We need to talk about Last of Us at some point. We really need to do that. But anyway, yeah. Other than that, man, I don't know. Not really. It's probably made me more efficient. I consider myself an efficient person. Like if I have to do something, I definitely like order it out. Like I should do that before I do that, so that this will be easier.
It's funny how he described it too, as basically when he's dispatching other people, you got your macro on, and then when you ride your bike, you got your micro on.
I want to know if the people that he has to dispatch realize that he thinks of them as expendable units that could be sent to their deaths at a moment's notice.
Bring some detection, because there's some widow mines out there.
What? I'm going to Walmart, man. Exactly. 2-for-1 special. People are just throwing it out the door. Good stuff. So that will do it, I think, Kyle, for this episode.
Yeah.
As always, StarCast is a production of amove.tv. Make sure you head on over to amove.tv, bookmark it, follow it. All of the stuff that Kyle and I do is posted there. You can find this and many other awesome shows over there, like This Week in Blizz or the Campaign Roundtable, which hopefully we'll be doing a Last of Us episode soon, because I'm bursting at the need to discuss that game and the ending that I really liked that my girlfriend didn't like, and I haven't asked you about your opinion of.
I really liked it. I mean, of course, I was feeling empty, hoping for a sequel. But I enjoyed it.
No, I don't want a sequel. I'll be really mad if we get a sequel.
Either way, I feel like I'd have to replay it before we talk about it again. And I know I beat on the hardest difficulty before you unlock the hard difficulty. And in the hard difficulty, you can't see things in your sneak mode. All you do is sneak. You don't actually see through walls.
Oh.
I've heard that. That may not be true, but I've heard that. And that is why I have not started playing again.
That would be so damn hard. Jesus.
I know, right? Particularly in the dormitories. Oh,
man, yeah. That part really got me. I don't know why. Like more than a lot of the other stuff. Well, in the beginning. That game has quite possibly the strongest opening of any video game I have ever played.
It's a roller coaster.
Yeah. Go get it. And if you don't have a PlayStation, get a PlayStation, then get it. Anyways, thestarcast.com, that's the place to go for our forums, archives, t-shirts, and plenty more. We record live every Thursday night at 8 p.m. Eastern on twitch.tv/thehandsomenerd, because we are the handsomest of the handsome nerds. Check out our VODs over on youtube.com/StarCast Show, and you can catch the podcast on the Frog Pants Studios Ultra feed over at frogpants.com. Our email is starcastshow@gmail.com. The voicemail line is 941-882-0281. right into the show. Call in, leave us a voicemail. We'd love hearing from you guys. And as you can see, we love putting them on the show. So you can follow us on Twitter at the StarCast. I am at Garrett Art. Kyle's at Kyle Fergusson. And big thanks to Captain Newbing, our kind of off-screen editor of the podcast. So all of you listening to the audio-only version right now, you can thank Captain Newbing. He also helped me pick out this schwanky new-ass mic that I'm currently talking into because my old mic died. So thank you for that. Check out nomoonart.com for my graphic design work if you need a designer. Well, I am one. So nomoonart.com. Kyle, where can people find you?
You can find me at Biggest Fan Podcast, where we follow the fad that's driving you mad. And as I mentioned at the top of the show, this next week is Soda Pop. It's a little close on the heels of energy drinks, but you know what? I think Brockett just enjoys watching me cringe and drink odd things. So we'll be doing Soda Pop next, and after that is a big topic that I have forgotten because we're going to be getting closer and closer to Spooktacular October pretty soon.
Do you know what all horror topics you're covering for that?
We are...
Tell me you have a written list next to your head that you were looking at.
Yeah, I can't see it from here, though. I'm sorry. It's up on my board. But
damn it.
The list, Spooktacular October, is always really hard to pick out. Just 4 topics of spookiness. There's so many great things.
Yeah. Are we doing a BlizzCon episode from the chat room? Of course we're doing a BlizzCon episode. We're going to it.
Yeah.
And you're not, Disco, because you're dumb. You should be coming this year. You had fun last time, you big dumb head. These lame insults are brought to you by our sponsors, DogHouseSystems.com, TweakedAudio.com, and SC2QuoteOfTheDay.com. Our code is StarCast. That gets you double memory on your next Doghouse Systems gaming rig, and it also gets you 30% off plus free shipping on your entire order of earbuds from TweakedAudio.com. SC2QuoteOfTheDay now has their app out on the Android store as well as the iOS market. So just search for QOTD, download the new app, and get your StarCraft 2 quotes straight to your phone. We thank them for their support, and we will see you all next week with episode 162 of StarCast. Thanks for tuning in. Enjoy all the esports goodness this week. And as always, good luck and have fun.
Take care.